Hey everyone, my name is Brandon. I am 28 years old and I am from America. But 6 months ago, my life was completely different. I was stuck in a job I hated, living paycheck to paycheck, watching my dreams die one by one. Today, I want to tell you how English changed absolutely everything for me, how one language gave me a new life, new opportunities, and a future I never thought possible. This is not just my story, this is your story too. If you have ever felt trapped, if you have ever felt like the world is passing you by, if you have ever wanted more but didn't know how to get it, keep watching. Because I was exactly where you are, and I promise if you listen to my full journey, step by step, you will see exactly how English can change your life too. So let's go back to the beginning because my journey did not start with hope. It started with pain that became my fuel. The moment everything changed, I was working as a sales assistant in a small electronics shop. Every day was the same: wake up at 7 a.m., take 2 buses to work, stand for 9 hours serving customers, take 2 buses home, eat, sleep, repeat. My salary was barely enough to support myself. Forget about helping my family or saving for the future. I watched my friends moving forward, getting better jobs, traveling, building their lives while I was stuck. My parents never said anything, but I could see the disappointment in their eyes. They had worked so hard to educate me, and this is where I ended up. Then, one day, something happened that broke me, but also woke me up. A foreign customer came into the shop. He was looking at laptops, and he had many technical questions. My manager called me over because I knew about computers. I could help. But when the customer started speaking English, I froze. I understood maybe 40% of what he said. I tried to answer, but my words came out broken, confused, wrong. The customer looked frustrated. He turned to my manager and said, "Can someone else help me? Someone who speaks proper English?" My manager apologized and called another employee. I stood there feeling small, useless, embarrassed. That customer ended up buying a very expensive laptop. My colleague got a huge commission, and I got nothing but shame. That night I went home and I did something I'm not proud of. I cried. I cried because I realized something terrible. I was 28 years old and I was invisible. I had a degree, I had skills, I had dreams, but without English I had no voice, no power, no future. The next morning I made a decision that changed everything. I would learn English and I would use it to escape this life, to build something better, to finally become someone my family could be proud of. Most people, when they decide to learn English, they immediately look for classes or apps or courses. But I couldn't afford any of that. I barely had enough money for food and rent. So I asked myself one simple question: how can I learn English with zero money? And that question led me to create a system that not only worked, but worked fast. I gave myself 6 months, just 6 months, to transform my English from broken to fluent. If I couldn't do it, I would accept that this was my life forever. But if I could do it, everything would change. Let me share exactly what I did, step by step, so you can do the same. Month 1. Building the foundation. The biggest mistake I made before was thinking I needed to learn more words. I thought if I memorized 5,000 words, I would be fluent. But I already knew hundreds of words, and I still couldn't speak. So I changed my approach completely. For the first month, I focused on just 50 sentences. That's it, just 50 simple sentences that I needed in real life. Things like, "Good morning, how can I help you? I work in electronics. Can you explain that again, please? I understand now. Thank you. That's a great question." Every single morning before work, I stood in front of my small bathroom mirror, and I spoke these 50 sentences out loud. Not once, not twice, 20 times each. At first, my mouth felt heavy. The words didn't flow. I felt stupid talking to myself. But I kept going, every single day without missing. After 2 weeks, something incredible happened. These sentences became automatic. I didn't need to think. They just came out naturally. The second thing I did was start describing everything around me in English. When I walked to the bus stop, I described what I saw in my mind. The sun is rising, the street is busy, people are walking fast, a dog is barking. When I made tea, I described the process. I am boiling water. I am adding tea leaves. The color is changing to brown. At first, I could only make simple sentences, but every day they got longer, more detailed, more natural. I was training my brain to think in English instead of translating from Urdu. The third thing I did was steal sentences from native speakers. I found YouTube videos of people having normal conversations. I picked 5 sentences every day, and I didn't just repeat them, I copied them exactly. Same speed, same emotion, same pronunciation. For example, I heard someone say, "I totally understand what you're going through." I repeated it 20 times until it felt natural in my mouth. This helped me sound more like a native speaker and less like a textbook. By the end of month 1, something changed. When customers asked me questions at work, I could respond without panicking, without translating, without that horrible pause. I was still not fluent, but I had broken through my fear barrier. Month 2, immersion without travel. I knew that if I wanted to improve fast, I needed to surround myself with English, but I couldn't go to England or America. So I brought English to me. I changed everything in my life to English. My phone language, my social media, my entertainment, everything. I stopped watching shows in Urdu. I only watched English content, at first with subtitles, later without. I stopped listening to Urdu songs in the morning. Instead, I listened to English podcasts while getting ready for work. I followed English-speaking influencers on Instagram and Twitter, so my feed was full of English. My brain was drowning in English, and at first it was exhausting. I would get headaches, I would feel tired, my brain wanted to switch back to Urdu. But I refused. I knew that if I wanted to think in English, I had to live in English. The turning point came when I started watching English movies without subtitles. The first time I tried this, I understood maybe 30%, but I kept watching anyway. I chose movies with clear dialogue, movies about normal life, not action movies with explosions and screaming. After watching the same movie 3 or 4 times, something magical happened. I started catching phrases, understanding context, following the story without struggling. My ears were finally adapting to the speed and rhythm of native English. But the most powerful thing I did in month 2 was find free language exchange partners online. I joined apps and websites where people wanted to learn Urdu and I wanted to learn English. We helped each other. Every day I scheduled at least one 30-minute conversation. Sometimes I had 2 or 3. The first conversations were terrible. I was nervous. I made mistakes. I didn't know what to say. But I showed up every single day. I forced myself to speak even when I wanted to hide. And slowly, week by week, my mouth started cooperating with my brain. The words started flowing. My confidence started growing. By the end of month 2, I could have basic conversations without major problems. I could understand most of what people said to me, and I could respond without too much hesitation. I wasn't fluent yet, but I was improving fast, faster than I ever thought possible. Month 3, the breakthrough. This was the month everything accelerated. I had the foundation, I had the immersion, now I needed to refine. I needed to fix my pronunciation, expand my vocabulary in a smart way, and learn to speak without thinking. For pronunciation, I used what I call the shadow technique. I found YouTube videos of people speaking clearly, I put on headphones, and I repeated every single sentence immediately after them, matching their speed, their tone, their emotion. For example, I found a video of someone explaining technology. He said, "This new software is incredibly user-friendly and efficient." I paused and repeated, "This new software is incredibly user-friendly and efficient." I did this for 30 minutes every single day. At first, my voice sounded nothing like theirs. But after 2 weeks, even I could hear the improvement. My accent was changing. I was starting to sound more natural. For vocabulary, I stopped memorizing word lists. Instead, I learned words in stories. Every day, I picked 5 new words, and I created a short story using all 5 words together. Then I read that story out loud 10 times. Then I tried to use those words in my real conversations. For example, new words: exhausted, deadline, pressure, manage, relief. My story. I was exhausted because of the tight deadline at work. The pressure was killing me, but somehow I managed to finish everything on time. The relief I felt was incredible. This method worked because I wasn't just memorizing isolated words. I was learning how words work together in real sentences. By the end of month 3, I had learned over 800 new words without ever touching a vocabulary book. But the biggest change in month 3 was mental. I stopped translating in my head. Before, when someone spoke English to me, my brain would translate to Urdu, think of a response in Urdu, then translate back to English before speaking. This made everything slow and unnatural. But by month 3, my brain had rewired itself. When someone spoke English, my thoughts were already in English. My responses came out in English. There was no translation step anymore. This is when I truly started feeling fluent. Month 4, real-world practice. By month 4, I wasn't the same person anymore. I could speak, I could understand, I could think in English. But I needed to test myself in the real world, not just with language partners, but in actual situations with real stakes. So I made a bold decision. I started applying for better jobs, jobs that required English. At first, I was rejected, many times. But I didn't give up. I kept applying, kept practicing, kept improving. Then one day, I got an interview call from an international company that had an office in our city. The position was for customer support specialist, dealing with international clients, much better salary, much better opportunities. I was terrified, but I was also ready. The interview was in 3 days. I spent those 3 days preparing. I researched common interview questions. I practiced my answers out loud 50 times each. I visualized walking into that room with confidence. On interview day, I woke up early, I looked in the mirror, and I said to myself in English, "You've worked too hard to doubt yourself now. You can do this." I walked into that interview room, and for the first time in my life, I didn't feel small. The interviewer started asking questions in English, and I responded clearly, confidently, naturally. I didn't panic. I didn't freeze. I didn't stumble over my words. I was speaking English like it was my language, like I owned it. I could see it in her eyes. She was impressed, not just with my English, but with my transformation, my effort, my courage. 3 days later, I got the call. "Congratulations, Ahmad, you got the job." I stood there holding my phone, shaking, tears rolling down my face. My starting salary was 3 times what I was making at the electronics shop, 3 times. But it wasn't just about the money, it was about what that job represented. It was proof that I had done it. I had changed my life with English. The first thing I did with my first salary was take my parents out for dinner, a nice restaurant, the kind we never went to because it was too expensive. I ordered in English. I spoke to the waiter in English. My parents just sat there watching me with pride in their eyes. My mother started crying. She held my hand and said, "Beta, you did it. You really did it." And that was the moment I understood. Learning English wasn't just about getting a better job, it was about becoming someone I could be proud of. Someone my family could be proud of. Month 5 and 6, living the transformation. With my new job came new opportunities. I was speaking to international clients every day. My English improved even more. I started getting compliments. "Ahmad, your English is excellent. Where did you study?" And I would smile and say, "I taught myself." I made friends with colleagues from different countries. I learned about their cultures, their lives. I felt like my world had expanded from my small city to the entire globe. But the biggest change wasn't external, it was internal. My confidence had grown so much, not just in English, but in everything. I started believing I could achieve anything if I worked hard enough. I started setting bigger goals. I started dreaming again, real dreams, not just wishes. 6 months after starting my English journey, I looked in the mirror and I didn't recognize myself. I was standing taller, speaking clearer, thinking bigger. I wasn't the same Ahmad who cried in his room 6 months ago. I was someone new, someone powerful, someone unstoppable. Key lessons from my journey. Now let me share the most important things I learned that helped me change my life with English. 1. Mindset is everything. Most people think they can't learn English. They say it's too hard, too late, too expensive. But the truth is, if you believe you can't, you won't. I changed my mindset. I stopped saying I can't and started saying I'm learning, I'm improving, I'm getting better every day. That shift changed everything. 2. Consistency beats intensity. You don't need to study 10 hours a day, you just need to do something every single day without exception. Even on days when I was tired, sick, or busy, I still practiced for at least 15 minutes. Those small, consistent actions added up to massive results. 3. Speaking without fear. Many people know English, but they're too scared to speak. They're afraid of making mistakes, afraid of being judged. But I realized that mistakes are part of learning. Native speakers don't care if you make mistakes, they appreciate your effort. So I forced myself to speak even when I was afraid, and the more I spoke, the better I became. 4. Immersion without travel. You don't need to go to England or America to immerse yourself in English. You can create an English environment right where you are. Change your phone language, watch English content, listen to English music, follow English speakers online. Surround yourself with the language everywhere. Your brain will adapt. 5. Learn in context, not isolation. Don't memorize word lists. Learn words in sentences, in stories, in real situations. This makes them stick in your memory and helps you use them naturally in conversations. 6. Find free resources. I learned English with zero money. I used YouTube, free apps, language exchange websites, public libraries. You don't need expensive courses, you just need dedication and creativity. 7. Track your progress. I kept a journal where I wrote about my journey. I recorded myself speaking so I could hear my improvement. I celebrated small wins, like having my first full conversation or understanding a movie without subtitles. Seeing progress kept me motivated. 8. Never give up. There were days when I wanted to quit, days when I felt like I wasn't improving, days when I was embarrassed by my mistakes. But I kept going because I knew that the pain of regret would be worse than the pain of discipline. I chose to push through, and it was worth it. Now I want to say something to you. If you're watching this video right now, if you feel stuck in your life, if you feel like you're invisible or powerless or trapped, I want you to know something. English can change everything for you too. It's not just a language, it's a key that opens doors you didn't even know existed. But here's the truth. Learning English is not easy. It requires work, sacrifice, consistency, discomfort. You will make mistakes, you will feel embarrassed, you will want to quit. But if you push through, if you stay consistent, if you believe in yourself even when nobody else does, you will transform, not just your English, but your entire life. I was a sales assistant making minimum wage, barely surviving. Now I work for an international company. I speak to people from around the world. I'm building a future I'm proud of. And it all started with one decision. I will learn English no matter what. So what about you? What's your decision? Are you going to let another year pass by wishing things were different? Or are you going to start today, right now, this moment? Because here's what I learned. The best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is now. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait until you feel ready. Don't wait for someone to give you permission. Start with what you have. Start where you are. Start even if you're scared. Choose one thing from my story, just one thing. Maybe it's speaking 50 sentences every morning. Maybe it's watching English content without subtitles. Maybe it's finding a language exchange partner. Choose one thing and do it today, then do it again tomorrow and the day after and the day after that. 6 months from now, you'll look back and you won't believe how much you've changed. Your English will be better, your confidence will be higher, your opportunities will be bigger, and you'll thank yourself for starting today. This is not just about learning English. This is about taking control of your life, about refusing to stay stuck, about becoming the person you were always meant to be. So I'll ask you one more time, what's your decision? Are you ready to change your life with English? If the answer is yes, then start now. Don't just watch this video and forget about it. Take action immediately. Open YouTube and watch one English video, change your phone to English, speak 5 sentences out loud right now. Do something, anything, just start. Because every expert was once a beginner. Every fluent speaker once struggled with basic sentences. Every success story started with someone who decided enough is enough. Today I change. That someone can be you. That someone should be you. If this story inspired you, if it gave you hope, if it showed you what's possible, then like this video and subscribe to my channel. I'll be here creating more content, sharing more strategies, supporting you on your journey. Let's do this together. Let's change our lives with English. Your transformation starts now.